Good evening to all of you, and I'm especially happy to see one of my old friends from my cohort, which was before you all were in Pampas, Hemraj and I. I'm so happy to hear he's back here. And one of my mentees here was someone I worked with, so it's good to be linking up with her. We worked together years and years ago. So I'm going to start by telling you a little story. When I was doing the EMBA, there was a course that I had not passed. Francis Lewis, who was at that time teaching marketing, said to me one day, "Hetty, how come you're now doing so-and-so exam?" So I said I had failed the course. And he turned around and looked at me and said, "Hetty, you did not fail. You just did not pass. Never let me hear you use that word fail again." And believe it or not, that is what turned it wrong for me. I was depressed. I was discouraged. I wanted to drop out. All my friends were saying, "Hetty, no, stay the course." But when Francis changed that one word from fail to did not pass. Now, in those days, we did not have mentors. You are very fortunate. But Francis stepped out of his role as lecturer and assumed the role of mentor. And that is what helped me to continue my course. And to be quite honest, my confidence returned. And there was no stopping me after that. After I earned the MBA, I was snapped up by the United Nations. I lived and worked in Mexico for 3 years. And when the position of UNFPA rep for the Caribbean was available, I was promoted to that position with 21 English and Dutch-speaking countries under my jurisdiction. Now, that is not only because of the MBA, but you cannot get one of those jobs without a master's degree. So I'm just saying this so that you know, if you ever feel discouraged, that is part of your role of your mentor. Now, when I was first being a mentor, I had at the back of my mind that part of my job was to help students see their own value and to provide encouragement. As you all know, it's not easy to work full-time and do the course. It's not easy to work full-time and be a mentor. It's all hard slave work. But I think you can get through with encouragement. So in looking at over the last few years, I picked out just 3 things that I felt become apparent to a mentor. One is infinite flexibility. As Kavita said, you have to be very flexible about the mentor's time and the mentee's time. For example, the first year I was a mentor, my mentee lived in San Grande, I live in Diego Martin, and she worked in Down Mearu. So it was next time, and the first time we met, I had to go, I was doing Spanish classes. I went to Spanish, and she had a meeting in town, and we agreed to meet halfway, and we sat in my car and spoke for an hour. And that was where our first meeting was held, in the car. So you have to be flexible, and as Kavita said, we have all the technology now these days, but human interaction and face-to-face, those things are also still very important. The second thing that came home to me very clearly was the need for proactiveness on both sides. Sometimes I had a mentee who I thought as I was doing the MBA, because I had to keep calling and calling and calling. And it wasn't that she didn't want it, she was a little bit shy, and she kept thinking that she was using up my time. So the mentee cannot afford to back off. You have to keep coaching and encouraging, which eventually we got together. But there must be that proactiveness, because the mentee has a role. You can't just sit back and decide the mentor have to call me. And the mentor cannot sit back and say the mentee has to call me. So you have to be completely open to sharing as we go through. The third point that is very important, I think, is the whole idea of building trust and mutual respect and keeping personal matters that are shared with mentors confidential. And the whole issue of being a careful listener. Now, on one of the documents that Kavita chose, you saw the role of the mentor is coaching, advising, so on and so. One mistake that a mentor cannot make is that you are not a professional counselor. So you see this business about giving advice, be careful how you give advice. It's best that you help the mentee to see his or her options, and then they make their own decision. So you have to be very careful with this business of being not professional. Some of us may be professional counselors, but not all of us. We're not the mentee's mother. We're not their sister. We're not their personal friend, but we can become personal friends. So the relationship is very dynamic, and it's one that has to be managed. Sometimes mentees may give you a lot of personal information, and you cannot deal with the mentee as just an MBA student. She or he is a human being and will always have personal concerns. So you have to be a good listener, and support and encourage while not trying to make decisions for them. So I am going to take my other 2 minutes I have, Kavita, and give another story. It's called The Wisdom of Sharing. I don't know how many of you have heard this story, but if you have heard, just listen again. There are many variations on the story of stone soup, but they all involve a traveler coming into a town beset by famine. The inhabitants try to discourage the traveler from staying, fearing he wants them to give him food. They tell him in no uncertain terms that there is no food anywhere to be found. The traveler explains that he doesn't need food, and that in fact he was planning to make a soup to share with all of them. The villagers watch suspiciously as he builds a fire and fills a cauldron with water. With great ceremony, he pulls a stone from a bag, dropping the stone into the pot of water. He sniffs the brew extravagantly and explains how delicious stone soup is. As the villagers begin to show interest, he mentions how good the soup would be with just a little cabbage in it. So a villager brings out a cabbage and shares. This episode repeats itself until the soup has cabbage, carrots, onions, beets, indeed a substantial soup that feeds everybody in the village. This story addresses the human tendency to hoard. Often we pull back and pull all of our energy into self-preservation. We may isolate ourselves and shut out others. As the story of stone soup reveals, in doing so, we often deprive ourselves and everyone else of a feast. The metaphor plays out beyond the realm of food. We hoard ideas, love, information, knowledge, energy, thinking we'll be richer if we keep them to ourselves, when in truth, we make the world and ourselves poorer whenever we greedily stockpile our reserves. The traveler was able to see that villagers were holding back, and he had the genius to draw them out and inspire them to give, thus creating a spread that none of them could have created alone. So, are we MBA, EMBA, and MBA graduates like some of the villagers holding back? If you come forward and share your gifts, as in mentoring, you will inspire others to do the same. And you know that the reward is a banquet that can nourish many. That is what we do when we serve as mentors. We share, we nourish, and we encourage. Thanks.
Ni hao, and welcome to GSB's 2013 to 2014 Mentorship Program. If I were to sum up my experience on that said program, I would say this. 1, you need to commit time to the program, and this goes to both the mentor and the mentees. You need time to share ideas. You need time to build trust and form a relationship that hopefully can blossom into a friendship. 2, mentees. You need to relax your expectations. You do not necessarily need to be paired with someone in your area of interest. Instead, learn from the experiences of the mentor and try to make it applicable to your understanding of the direction in which you intend to go. Your mentor's job in the short space of time that they will have with you would be to try and act as a guide and give you a number of ideas to help find yourself. But I believe that if you are confident in the direction that you want to go and you share it with your mentor, then the experience can be even fruitful. And 3, have some fun. Learning doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be serious. In fact, my mentor and I would meet on occasions for dinner. We would discuss business cases, and I remember one instance where he was examining a case and I visited him, and I was able to not only keep up but add value to that. And if ALTA Jack is able to say that this mentor acts as experience, successful experience, and I'm able to hold my own with that mentor, then it gives me a sense of accomplishment, a sense of confidence, knowing that when I go out into the world, I would be able to stand firm with other professionals. So congratulations, and I wish you all well on this journey. And as they say in China, Zaijian and good luck.
Welcome, and thank you very much, everybody, for coming out here this afternoon. It is absolutely fantastic to see the turnout and absolutely fantastic to see how this mentorship program has grown over the last 4 years. Growing from 40 to over 150 peers is no small feat. And I really want to congratulate Kavita Kishoon, if you all can just applaud her on that. Kavita is a star employee, and she has taken this mentorship program and grown it, mentored it. She's nurtured it into what it has become today. And for those of you in our alumni body, wouldn't you agree that, in terms of our communication to alumni, that it has grown exponentially over the past couple of years? And it's all because of Kavita Kishoon and her master marketing. So thank you very much, Kavita, and please don't steal her. All right? Okay, so thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for your overwhelming response. I know it's sometimes a challenge for us to find enough mentors, but every time we say, hey, we need a few more, we always have new people willing to step forward and to be a part of this process. This year, we really have some great mentors in the mix. And I'll call some names, not to mean that the other mentors are not great, because everybody's great and a star in their own right and does their own things. But we have people, for example, Anna Maria Garcia Brooks. We have His Excellency, Dr. Neil Parson. We also have John Gransall, Dr. Fuad Khan, and Ingrid Jara of IMAX. And so, among with all of these fantastic mentors, we also have you. And everybody does great things. So this is what I've realized, actually, working in alumni relations. A lot of our alumni are doing great things, but doing great things quietly. Am I right? Yeah. And this is what alumni relations is here for. And one of the things, or one of our missions, is actually to assist our alumni in terms of building their own personal brands, building their professional brands. And this is why we have events such as the Distinguished Alumni Series, CEOs back to school, and ever so often you'd see an email from Kavita asking alumni to contribute, write an article, come and speak at one of our events, or to give a small quote that we can include in some of the marketing materials. And I really want to encourage you, the alumni, and eventually students, as you become alumni, to contribute back to us by sharing your information, sharing your experiences, and by giving us those little tidbits that help to build the alumni community and who we are together. All right? The mentorship program has grown not only in terms of numbers, but also in terms of the geographies that we cover. Thank God for technology. So now that we have students in Tobago, we also include our Tobago students as well as the students in Guyana. The fact that you can't see them face to face, which is ideal, doesn't necessarily mean that they are left out. All right, so it takes a little bit more coordination, but we've moved beyond operations here in Trinidad alone. I won't repeat and rehash what everyone else has said. I could probably give you my own experience from being a mentor over the past 2 or 3 years. And in terms of the mentees, my biggest suggestion to you would be to maximize what you can out of it. And even though your mentors might be busy, and reach out to them. That's the most important thing. Reach out to them. Ask questions beyond which, how do I balance life? That's important. But ask questions about things that are facing you in your day-to-day, scenario. Your mentor is not there to help you find a job. But if a job is found along the way, that's not a problem. And I can say that actually, we ended up hiring one of my mentors in our conferencing department over the past year. And it has been a really good hire. She's a great fit in terms of her marketing experience and adds value in terms of conferencing. But really and truly, just the main thing you should be trying to get out of this is your expanded network. It's your first step into the area of alumni. And once you actually step into alumni, you'll see all the events that we have that help you with your networking. This is just your first step into that. And in terms of the mentors, what can I say? Be available, share as much as you can, as Hetty has suggested, and embrace the experience. It's important to note that as much as you have experience and you're willing to give it to the mentees, also know that the mentees have something to share with you. Over the last year, I had a very challenging experience of being paired with a mentee that actually intimidated me, because I felt that he had far more experience than I could ever dream of. So in that, it really was a sharing process in terms of his experiences and what he wanted to get out of the mentorship program, which is that he was actually trying to create a national mentorship program. And so for him, it was a great opportunity to be paired with alumni relations to see how we were doing things and then to take the learnings from us to implement in his own program. So the main point out of that is, as much as you have to share, don't be closed off to the probability that you can actually learn something from your mentee as well. All right, now, in terms of the school, this program is phenomenally important. When the school started the mentorship program many years ago, when we were going after the Association of MBAs accreditation, they were very impressed at the fact that we had such a program, that we had implemented such a program. And of course, it came up again in our re-accreditation, which took place, what, a month ago, right? And so once again, we were able to show not just that we had this mentorship program, but that we were able to grow it consistently and exponentially over the past few years. They were able to chat with mentors. In terms of the alumni, they were able to chat also with the students. So this program actually has put us in terms of a best practice in the Association of the MBAs, and it's something for us to be very proud of. All right? Now, we've done a lot with the mentorship program. And as we talk about moving forward and growing and doing great things and showing what we could do, it's always great to have ideas from you. Yes? So as you're going through this mentorship process, students as well as the alumni, if you can think of anything that would help make this process more exciting for you, should you have to do it again, let us know. We've put all our information on there. Shoot us an email or a Facebook message or anything like that on how we can innovate this program to make it more helpful to the students or make it more inviting or more exciting. We'd be more than happy to hear what you have to say and to make adjustments for the next cycle of the mentorship program that starts next year, October. And that's it for now, because I'm sure everybody has hungry bellies, yes, at 6:10. So thank you very much for coming.